Imagine someone taps a promo ad or a push notification and lands right inside your app's product screen with the relevant page open. That is possible because of deep linking. Quick examples where we can use deep linkings are discounts, referrals, retargeting ads, and personalized content. So here's what exactly happens behind the scenes. First, a user taps a link, maybe from a push notification, an ad, or even an SMS. Next, the OS, like iOS or Android, checks whether the app is installed on the device. If the app is installed, great. The user is taken straight to the relevant screen inside the app, like a product details page. If the app is not installed, the OS redirects the user to the App Store or Play Store instead. And once the user installs the app and opens it, ideally they're still taken to that original target screen. This is what we call deferred deep linking. Deferred deep linking is actually part of a broader concept called dynamic linking, which includes smart behaviors like routing users, detecting platforms, and preserving context even across installs. Now, what do we use for dynamic links? Early on, Firebase dynamic links used to be the go-to solution for deep linking in mobile apps, especially if you were already using Firebase. But as of 2023, Firebase has deprecated dynamic links and recommended moving to alternatives for any new development. This means if you are building new experiences like onboarding, marketing campaigns, or personalized link flows, you will need a more future-proof solution. And there are many such solutions, but for this video, we will be integrating Branch.io. Branch.io is a deep linking and attribution platform. It helps you create links that can survive app installs and route users to the right screen, like a specific product, offer, or onboarding step. It's also used by many popular companies. Now let's see how we can integrate Branch.io in our FlutterFlow apps without leaving the platform. We start by creating a free Branch.io account. Once you are in the dashboard, you can find the Quick Links tab to create new links, or right now we can go to the Configuration tab to configure our branch settings. You can add a default URL to start with. In this case, I added the FlutterFlow.io website link. Now scroll down to the link domain. Here you can create your own link domain or use the one that is provided by Branch.io. Here I'm trying to find if Creambrush is available, and it is, so I'm going to be using that as my custom domain. Remember to use this domain as your custom URI scheme as well. Custom URIs are app-specific links. They kind of work like web URLs, but instead of HTTPS, they might look like this. They are designed to open your app directly to a specific screen or flow, like a product page, user profile, or checkout screen. They're really easy to set up. You just register the scheme in your app settings in FlutterFlow and you are done. But they come with some major caveats. So here's the catch. URI schemes aren't globally unique. There is no central registry saying that only one app can use the scheme. So if multiple apps on a phone define the same scheme, let's say both app A and app B use the same custom URI, the operating system does not know which one to launch. That's why your URI schemes should be unique, something that won't hopefully overlap with other apps. But honestly, the most reliable way to handle this is to avoid relying solely on custom URIs. Instead, we should be using Android app links and iOS universal links to handle deep linking in our apps. App links are Android's way of associating a web link like https yourapp.com/product/123 with your app. It also contains a scheme, which is usually HTTPS, the host, and also the path. Unlike custom URIs, these links must be verified using a digital association file hosted on your domain. That's how the OS knows your app is the true owner of that link. So if the app is installed, it opens the screen directly. Great. If not, the link just opens in the browser. Universal links work similarly on iOS. They are regular web links, and when tapped, iOS checks if your app is installed and can handle the link. If the app is there, it opens the relevant screen, and if not, the link behaves like a normal web page. App links and universal links are more secure than custom URIs because they require verification. And the best part, when you use Branch's own domains, you don't have to manually host these verification files. Branch does it for you. Alright, so after the URI scheme, we can add a fallback to our Android redirects, which is the Dreambrush app link in the Google Play. And let's enable app links. And we do the same for the iOS redirect, where we add the URI scheme, which is similar to the Android one. It should be the exact same one. And we also add the Apple Store search link for the Dreambrush app link. Next, we also add the bundle identifier for making sure universal links work for iOS, which is the app package ID that you can find in your FlutterFlow project. We also add the SHA-256 fingerprints for the Android redirect, and then we save the configuration. So you saw that we needed the fingerprint for Android setup. If you're developing it locally, you can generate or retrieve it from your machine using this command. But if you are using Google Play app signing, which most of us are by default, you don't need to generate the SHA manually. You can just head over to your Play console, go to App Integrity, and copy the SHA-256 from there. This is the value Branch uses to verify your app and make app links work. And in iOS, you saw that we needed the bundle identifier and the Apple app prefix. The app prefix or the team ID is what iOS uses to validate your app for things like universal links and associated domains. And the bundle identifier is your app's unique ID, in this case something like io.flutterflow.dreambrush, and it tells Branch exactly which app to target on the App Store. As mentioned, you can also find it on the FlutterFlow app settings page. Alright, so let's go to the quick links tab in our Branch dashboard and create a new quick link. This link will push our users to upgrade their subscription, so I'm just going to call it a paywall upgrade title link. And now you can add a link alias, which is going to be the custom alias that you add to your link. In this case, I just call it paywall. This is the link that you will be sharing with the users. So let's save and add some analytics tabs. In this case, the feature is for upgrading the user, so I'm going to just call it upgrade. Then we have the channel, which in this case is WhatsApp. You can also have your custom campaign. I'm just going to call it Dreambrush upgrade campaign. And you can also add some relevant tags. I just added upgrade, monthly, and annual because these are related to the subscription social campaign that we're doing. And next tab is redirects. This is already set up because of the configuration tab, so let's move on. Now comes the link data. This is the data that will be received by the link in your FlutterFlow app, so you can fill up all these values if you want, or you can create your new one. In this case, I'm going to create navigation type because it could be a full page or it could be a bottom sheet. In this case, it's a bottom sheet. Next, we create a new link, which is for page value, and this is going to be the paywall page. Now we can save this and make sure that we add some social media tags, which is the title and the description. This will be very useful for your link previews, so make sure that you add the correct title and description here. So I'm just going to add a description for making sure that the user knows that they can get upgraded. And just verify all the tabs and save, continue, and create a link now. So your link is now created. You can copy it and share it with your users. Alright, so now that we're done with the branch.io setup, let's do the setup steps to integrate the Branch SDK within FlutterFlow. For this demo, I will be using the Dreambrush app. So let's go to our settings and let's add a pub dependency for integrating the Branch SDK. You can get the latest version from pub.dev, but here is the current version that I'm going to be adding to my project. Alright, it's added now. Now let's add some environment variables. The first one is branch host URL. This is the domain that you define in Branch.io dashboard. So let's add this here, and also adding another value for the branch key. So here we can add the values which would be dreambrush.app.link. And let's also add the branch key here from the branch dashboard. Alright, so now the environment variables are set up. Let's go to our custom code tab. Here we are going to add some snippets. You will find all these snippets in the FlutterFlow documentation under the deep and dynamic linking document. Let's go to our Android manifest.xml and find the variable tab. And let's add two variables. One is for branch host URL that we will be setting from the environment value branch host URL. And we also add another variable which is called branch key. In this case, this is the production key, but you can also have both dev keys and production keys in your branch project. Currently, I'm only adding the production key, and this is going to be coming from branch key. Alright, so the variables are set. Now let's add the next step. So first we are going to add an activity tag. This will be added to your main activity itself. So let's open this, name this as app links setup, and then I'm going to be adding the intent filter block. This is the one that defines the scheme as HTTPS and the host as the branch host URL that is coming from the variable which is coming from the environment values. So now that you've added the snippet, and you can find this snippet from the FlutterFlow documentation as well. So let's save this. Another tag that we'll be adding is the app component tag, which defines the key and if the branch project that we are using is on production or dev. So let's add the key as the name of this tag, and then we add the values being the branch key that is coming from the variable called branch key, and also if the test mode is currently at false or true. So this is currently working on production, so I have set it to false. Another way you can add these values is you can unlock the file and add the activity tag, the intent filter tag, right after this intent filter that is created automatically for you, which is the custom URI scheme. You can add the new intent filter for HTTPS scheme right after that. And for the metadata, you can add this right after this Flutter embedding metadata, which is the branch key setup. So let's save this file and move on to the iOS setup. For iOS, we will be touching two files. One is info.plist and the other is runner.entitlements. So we are going to first create a variable in info.plist, which is for setting up the branch key. And this is also being provided by the environment values. It's the same key that we'll be using for both platforms. Next, we're going to be adding a new property for this file, and this will be the key from branch. So let's add the value. And again, this is using a variable that is branch key that we just defined. Now let's go to runner.entitlements file, and here we are going to also add another variable which is going to be the branch host URL. This will also be defined by the environment values branch host URL, and now we're going to add an entitlement block for associated domains. This allows Apple to know that the domain that you are using is actually owned by you. If you don't add this and Apple is not able to verify your domain, it will redirect your link to a browser instead of the app, which is not something we want. So let's add the associated domains with the app links colon and the branch host URL variable. Let's save it, save the file. And that's all the native file configurations that we need to add to make branch.io SDK work for FlutterFlow app. Next, we're going to be touching the Flutter code. So let's create a new action. And this is called init branch. This action will initialize the branch SDK in our FlutterFlow app. It takes no argument, so let's set up the boilerplate code. Let's add the import from the Flutter branch SDK package. And next we call the init function from the Flutter branch SDK class so it can initialize the SDK for our app. Let's save this. and this action will be called in our main.dart. Let's go to our final actions and call init branch, and as you can see, this will be added right at the end of our main.dart block. Next, we create another custom action that will handle the branch links that is received by the app. So let's create one which is called handle branch deep linking. We need two arguments here. One is on link open. This will handle the navigation logic or any other logic once the branch link is clicked. This will be an action that is provided by the caller, and it will have an action parameter which is the data that will be a JSON type, and this will contain the data that is provided by the link itself. It could be the page value, it could be other parameters or metadata, etc. We also add another argument which is for error handling, which is on error, and this will be an action, and it has an action parameter called error, which could be a string message. Now let's add the boilerplate code here. The first thing that we need to define are the branch subscription, that is a stream subscription, and also a set of string which is the handled branch links, to make sure that we are not handling the same branch link twice. The next set of code is in the function body itself. So here we make sure that we are not setting up multiple stream listeners. So if branch subscription already exists, we just return. Next, we are listening to the branch's session stream. This stream emits data whenever the app is opened from a branch link. We check if the link was actually clicked, and if it wasn't, for example, the app was launched normally, we just ignore it. Then we try to extract a unique identifier from the link, which is either the full referring link or the specific deep link path. Finally, we pass the past link data to our handler function, which is on link opened. This is where we trigger any navigation or any other logic in our app. Finally, we also have to handle any errors in the stream, logging platform-specific errors or fallback messages for unknown ones. So this listener gives us full control over what to do when a branch link is tapped. We just need to parse the data and route it accordingly. So let's save this function. This will be called in your logged in pages on page load action. If you don't have authentication in your app, it will be your entry page then. So let's go to home page, and here you have few triggers already. I'm going to add a new action that will be at the top of all my action flow. This will be calling the handle branch deep link. Now here's the important part, the action flow triggered through the on link opened callback. This is where we want to check what kind of link was opened and what data came with it. This is where we can plug in any navigation logic based on the link's payload. For this demo, I'm keeping it simple. I just want to check if the target page is paywall, and if so, I'll show the corresponding bottom sheet with the paywall content. To do that, I have a helper function already created here, which is called isPaywallLink, which gets the page JSON and checks if the page data in the link payload equals paywall or not. If that is true, we conditionally trigger a paywall flow in FlutterFlow. To make it work in the action flow, let me add a conditional action block that is calling isPaywallLink. Now I just pass the data map into this conditional block, which is action parameters data confirm. If this returns true, we open a bottom sheet which opens the paywall component. If not, you can extend this to do something else, maybe navigate to a product page or show a special offer maybe. Now let's test this out on a physical device. Here's my phone. I've sent myself a branch smart link via WhatsApp, which includes a parameter that tells the app to open the paywall page. Here's the home page of the Dream Brush app. Now I'm going to kill the app, go to WhatsApp, click on the link, and as you can see, as soon as I tap the link, notice how there's no browser involved, no intermediary step, and it immediately shows the paywall bottom sheet exactly as we had configured on the on link open action. Now, if you want to test this without sending the link through WhatsApp or another messaging app, you can simulate a deep link directly from your development machine on Android using ADB, the Android Debug Bridge. Just run this command from your terminal and it will mimic the OS behavior when a user clicks a link. The D flag includes the branch URL you want to test. This is a really handy trick during development, especially when your app isn't live on the Play Store yet and you want to quickly verify your branch link handling. iOS does not support a direct equivalent of this, but the recommended way there is to test it by tapping the link in Safari, Notes, or Messages, which mirrors the actual user behavior and still respects universal link routing. Now, before universal links can work on iOS, we have to do one more simple step. Go to your Apple developer account, go to Certificates, Identifiers, and Profiles, and select your app's identifier. You know, the one that matches your bundle ID? Then scroll down and make sure the checkbox for associated domains is enabled. This is what allows iOS to handle universal links and match the domain in the branch smart link with your app. So that was a quick demo on how to integrate branch deep link into your FlutterFlow app without leaving FlutterFlow. We configured the branch dashboard, we created new branch links with data, we integrated branch SDK in FlutterFlow, and handled navigation logic on deep link tab. In a future video, we'll talk more about other real-world use cases like how to generate dynamic links for the content in your app or demo deferred deep linking, etc. We're also working on making this integration even smoother, so stay tuned and hope this tutorial helps you transition from Firebase dynamic links sooner. For more details, head over to docs.flutterflow.io.